What's going on, guys? Coach Steve here again, and here we are again with recovery day. And notice I didn't say rest day, right? Those are two different things. You will see both of those on your program, regardless of what program you may be following. And I wanted to take a minute and kind of create a little distinction there, talk a little bit about the difference between a recovery day and a rest day, because they sound like the same thing, but they're certainly not. And then I wanted to just kind of put some of the content that we've been covering over the last few recovery days, whether it's about hydration or flexibility with dynamic or static and all that, and then just with intensity of kind of some of our recovery runs. I wanted to try to put all that together in kind of a simple sequence, just so if somebody's out there saying, okay, look, in a real life scenario, put this in order for me. What should my day look like? I just wanted to kind of bundle all that together to make it a little bit easier, right? So first, real quick, rest versus recovery, right? So rest is inactivity, right? And recovery is, it's actually defined as returning to a better state, right? So the idea of if I'm planning on having a rest day, that means I'm planning on not being physically active that day. And if I'm planning on having a recovery day, then that means I'm consciously deciding to do things that are going to return my body to a better state, right? They're going to help my body recover. So again, those are two really different things, both really important parts of the program. You certainly need days that are rest days. You're off your feet, you're not doing much. But then you certainly need days that you're actively doing things that are helping your body recover. So please never think those are the same thing. You got recovery days and you got rest days. Okay, so now that I'll get off my soapbox a little bit with that, I want to talk a little bit about that. Let's start saying, okay, look, we got hydration. How much? And again, in its simplest forms, how much water should I be drinking? Let's talk about breathing exercises. I went through a few options on that a few weeks ago, so we'll kind of include some of that in today's post. Okay, so warming up. What's the best warm up? Okay, it's my recovery run. How long should I go and where should the intensity be? And then finally, my workout is done. What should that flexibility look like, right? So I'll kind of put that together. Let's start, and let's assume for this particular scenario, let's assume that you're running in the morning, right? So the first thing I always recommend people do is when you get up in the morning, as soon as possible, try to get some water in. We'll say 8 to 16 ounces, depending on kind of your daily activity level and whether you're 5'9" or 6'5", right? You got 8 to 16 ounces there as kind of a zone. The reason you want to get that in quickly, one, because depending on how much sleep you're getting, you've had a pretty decent stretch there without getting any water in, so you want to get it in your system quickly. And then two, there's still going to be some time, whether it be with breakfast or getting yourself ready or going through the breathing exercises and the dynamic warm-up. There's going to be a little bit of time that water can settle and you're not running on a full stomach of water, right? I've seen people try to slam a bottle of water right before they run. Sometimes you just feel a little heavy that way. So I always like, hey, first thing, let's get some water in, and then let's start going through the rest of our routine to get ready and go, right? So you got the water in. Next thing is I want to kind of prepare my mind and body to perform that morning. You've probably heard me say on a few of these videos already, your body's going to show up and your body's going to do what you ask it to do. Your mind is what you've really got to convince when it comes to the intensity levels you're working or the duration and all that. So that being said, knowing that we've got to kind of get our mind where it needs to be, one of the best ways I've found to do that is kind of controlling your breathing, and just through kind of certain breath work exercises anyway, you can really kind of get to a good place. I'm not trying to get out into the clouds with you guys or anything, but I've personally found that a few breathing exercises or just taking a minute to kind of get my mind and my body all aligned, I usually perform better. So I'll include in the details, so you don't have to go hunting for it, I'll include some details on a 4-minute breathing exercise that I like personally, and I think you guys would like as well. So you get some water in, you get yourself ready, you go through this 4-minute breathing exercise, you're starting to prime and get ready to work. Your next thing is your dynamic warm-up. Remember, dynamic warm-up is pre-workout. So pre-run, you're wanting to go through this dynamic exercise or this dynamic warm-up routine. And again, this past Monday, I included some details and a video on that. So I think that was May 4th or so. You don't have to search too far back. If you go back on the videos, you can see that dynamic warm-up routine that I put out there. You go through that, and then you go on your recovery run. So depending on what your weekly mileage is now, and depending on kind of whether you're on the 5K or the 10K program that you're following, this recovery run or walk is going to be anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes. If you're a high mileage kind of person, maybe it's as much as 30 minutes, but probably not too much at all. And remember, the intensity level is you're passing the talk test from a percentage standpoint. You're in that 70% range. This is not a high intensity workout at all. You're just getting moving, and you're getting your body just kind of loosened up a little bit. So again, 10 to 20 minutes ballpark, 70% intensity. You should be able to carry on a conversation this whole time. This could just be kind of a nice walk if with your husband or wife or significant other, maybe your kids or whatever, you want to get out and walk in the morning. I don't want it being a stroll to where you're at 40-50% intensity. I do want there being a little bit of work there, but let's get out and get moving. And then the final piece, the 5th step in, we went nutrition, we went breath work, we went dynamic warm up, we went recovery run or walk. And then the fifth piece of that is our static flexibility. And remember, those static holds are 20 to 30 seconds long. They always come post-workout. And as with dynamic, I added some details on that, and then some examples of those on Monday's post. Again, I think that's May 4th. So shouldn't have to look too far, but if you want to see those details in that video, again, you can go back on Monday and look at that. I'll add a few details in the caption below, but those are kind of my 5 steps to, hey, if I run in the morning, let's put all that together. What does a recovery kind of series look like? Stay hydrated, get your breath right, you warm up right, you get 10, 15, 20 minutes of movement in, and then you come back, static flexibility, and you're done and ready to dominate the rest of your day. And don't forget, I'll kind of end the same way I started, and that is rest and recovery are totally different. They're both really important, but they're totally different. So please keep that in mind. Let me know if you have any questions, private message, or just comment below. And I look forward to seeing you guys out there. See you guys. See ya.